Holy fucking shit. We are back. Back again. Been a long wait, but bro, I am so excited. If you are from the YouTube side of things, please make sure to come over to this subreddit where I will make posts for every NBA slate. Some slates I might take off, like I did last year. Sometimes some things do come up where I'll have to take like a Friday slate off because I work late on Fridays. But most of the most of the time, I'll have an NBA. I'll have a video for every slate. So it'll either be I'll put the video up the night before the slate or earlier in the day for that slate. Usually it'll be every night before the next day. But yeah, please come to this subreddit. I make posts here. My name is Shook_Dash if you're from YouTube. You can ask me questions. NBA gets really hectic, so please ask me whatever you want. I will always answer you. If you need to get a hold of me on Twitter or Reddit, you can message me. I will always respond to you. If you need to get a hold of me on Twitter, you can message me. I will always respond to you at ToryLangley1992. So yeah, please make sure you come over to the subreddit. If a Discord is something you are interested in, where I'll have in-depth videos going over each slate, player pools for cash, GPPs, etc., that will be linked below. So, first I just want to show you guys, this was my NBA preseason ROI for you guys who are new here. I show you my results every day. I show you my lineup every night, how I did, etc. So you can track my results, etc., etc. I wrote some notes down for that. This was last season. Just some results I had. Show these for you. So those were some binks from last season. So yeah, let's get into this video. So Philly at Boston, not a good matchup for Philly, but I still think pricing is a little bit absurd here. I don't understand the pricing. So if we take a look at the Sixers depth chart, let's pull it up real quick. Starting lineup's going to be Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. D'Anthony Melton is behind Tyrese Maxey. Matisse Thybulle behind Tobias Harris. Jordan Niang behind PJ Tucker. And Paul Reed behind Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid at the top at 9.9K. I do understand it's a tough matchup. Boston, one of the best defensive teams in the league, but I'm not too worried about that. He's just too cheap. Draftkings is very casual with the pricing to start the season, so I think Joel Embiid's going to be a very popular play for the slate, but I think it's for very good reason. I do believe Al Horford will be starting at the 5 as well, without Robert Williams there. So, regardless, I think Joel Embiid stands out as one of the best spend-ups on the slate right now. Like I said, not the best matchup. I think minutes-wise for him, he's not going to play 35-plus minutes. I think he'll probably stay in that 30-35 minute range. And at that price, it's just too cheap. Phenomenal rebounder, good defender. Obviously, we know he's a phenomenal scorer as well. So, I think Joel Embiid looks great. James Harden, more of the contrarian play on the slate. Now, it is a 2-game slate, so you're probably going to have to get different somewhere. I think he's priced about right for me. You know, he's taken a backseat to Joel Embiid, obviously. And sometimes Maxey. Maxey has really improved, and I would say obviously Maxey's not a better fantasy producer than James Harden, but I would say he's more aggressive than James Harden is. Obviously this is my team, but yeah, if you want to get contrarian, I think James Harden is the contrarian play on the slate. I don't think anyone's going to play him. Obviously we know he's triple-double upside, go rebounder, you know, he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. The tougher matchups for everyone else could open up some for Harden, but he has a tough matchup himself as well. Tobias Harris at 5.9K is just there for me. Usually if this was like a normal slate, I would say 5.9K is way too cheap, but I think there just are other underpriced players on the slate, to where I would still say Tobias Harris is underpriced, definitely. Obviously we know he's a good rebounder, you know, he can definitely stuff the stat sheet. He's probably going to play 35 plus minutes. He started to play huge minutes at the end of the season last year. So I think he plays like 35, 38 minutes. Yeah, 5.9K is too cheap. Like Tobias Harris. This price on Tyrese Maxey is an absolute crime. I don't understand it. He should be like a 6.5K player. This guy is going to shoot the ball a ton while he's out there. Now, he does have a low floor, right? He's not going to stuff the stat sheet like James Harden will, but he can definitely get you a few assists, few rebounds, but he's way too cheap. We saw last year Tyrese Maxey was playing around 40 minutes a game. Now, I don't know if he plays that much, but I do expect him to play 35 plus minutes. Going to be aggressive on the offensive end as well. Going to shoot the ball a ton while he's out there. Like, look at these shot attempts 20 plus, 15, 16, 14. When you're getting a guy putting in this much volume and how athletic and gifted Tyrese Maxey is at 5K while playing 35 plus minutes, you can't price him at 5K. So I don't understand what Draftkings is doing there. He looks phenomenal at that price. The backup 5 situation, I don't know what Doc Rivers is going to do. So Paul Reed was getting the backup 5 run in the preseason, but last season what Doc Rivers did was he would change the backup 5 rotation depending on the team they played. So I don't know what Doc Rivers is going to do, so be careful with the backup 5 situation. If I knew Paul Reed at the flat min was going to play the backup 5 and get anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes, I would think he's a solid value at the flat min, because Paul Reed is a phenomenal point per minute guy. But I don't know if he's going to get that backup 5 minutes. They could even do a 3-headed monster where they split backup 5 minutes between Paul Reed and Montrezl Harrell. So be careful with that situation. I do think Paul Reed is definitely worth a look in tournaments. D'Anthony Melton at 4.2K, here's my issue. He's going to be productive when he's on the court. He's going to run that second unit. But Tyrese Maxey is going to play a lot of minutes. So I don't know how many minutes that leaves for D'Anthony Melton. My guess is Melton is going to hover in that 12-minute range, which at 4.2K isn't enough for me in my opinion. So I'm kind of off Melton for now. PJ Tucker at 3.7K, I think is an okay value play. Obviously, we know he's not a good fantasy producer. He has to basically get there on 3-point shooting. So, he's a good rebounder as well. I will give him that. But mainly has to get his fantasy points from 3-point shots. I think there definitely is better value on this slate. But PJ Tucker is fine value. If you want to go there, be my guest. The bench rotation, so Niang, Thibault, Paul Reed are definitely going to be in the rotation. Korkmaz, I am not sure if I would think he's in the rotation. They're all just start throws for me. Like Niang probably plays 10 to 12 minutes. Paul Reed probably 12 to 15. Thibault probably 12 to 15. So nothing really for the bench for me. So Celtics depth chart. Let's take a look. The starting lineup for the Celtics will be Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. Behind Marcus Smart is Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams, and then they have Blake Griffin, and then Peyton Pritchard. I think they're going to run an 8-man rotation. So, obviously, once again, Philly plays slow. They're not a fast-paced team, and it's a tough matchup. They're one of the better defensive teams in the league as well, but like I said, everyone's underpriced on the slate, so I think Tatum, Brown both look good. Brown more of that GPP play. Tatum definitely has a higher ceiling and a higher floor than Jaylen Brown does, but I think both are in play. Marcus Smart is going to play in this game. They did get Brogdon, so I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. My guess, Marcus Smart probably plays around 30 minutes. Malcolm Brogdon probably plays 20 plus, and then they just switch things around. So I'm not really sure, but if that's the case, and Marcus Smart only plays like 25 to 30 minutes alongside those high usage players, like he's fine for me. I think he's solid, but I'm just much going to prefer Malcolm Brogdon off the bench, who is going to have a very, very high usage rate. I'm expecting him to play over 20 minutes, and at this price, he is just way too cheap. So I think Brogdon right now stands out as a very, very good value play. And I think Al Horford at 4.9K, who I expect to start the 5, is just way, way too cheap. I don't understand this. The only way he fails tomorrow is if he gets into foul trouble, which is definitely a concern going up against Embiid. But I'm going to roll the dice here. He's just way too cheap. We saw last year when Robert Williams out when he was starting at the 5. He put up insane numbers. Al Horford is a good point per minute guy. I'm expecting him to play a lot as well. And at 4.9K, this price is just way, way too cheap. So I do really like Al Horford on the slate. I like Brogdon quite a bit. Derek White is going to start. Minutes wise, I don't know. Probably in that 20-minute range. Starting alongside Tatum and Brown, he's not going to have a high usage rate. So I think he's solid value, but don't think he's going to have a high usage rate starting with those guys. Probably plays around 20 minutes. I think he's solid. Backup 5, probably going to be Blake Griffin. I don't know how much he's going to play. These are all dart throws off the bench. I definitely do prefer the Lakers bench over pretty much any other bench outside of the Celtics with Brogdon. But Blake Griffin's probably going to play the backup 5. I don't know how much he plays, but I think he will be in the rotation. Peyton Pritchard. So they obviously got Brogdon. Peyton Pritchard is a very, 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 very good point per minute guy. Super high usage guy off the bench as well. Is he going to play? I have no idea, but I thought I'd mention him. If you want to take a super, super risky dart in large field tournaments and hope Peyton Pritchard gets bench run, I don't hate it. Very, very risky though. Like extremely, extremely risky. So yeah, let's go over the Warriors first. So first, let's take a look at this. Steve Kerr said Warriors starters aren't ready to play 30 plus minutes on Tuesday due to conditioning. Is this guy serious? Is Steve Kerr serious? The preseason is for getting your players ready for the regular season. What are you doing, Steve Kerr? What are you doing? So, this is the case. This is the problem. If Steve Kerr is telling the truth, then I have no interest in anyone on this team outside of the bench players, which we'll go over in a second. If Steve Kerr's not telling the truth, what's that going to do? Everyone's going to see this tweet and they are not going to play anyone from the Warriors. So all I'll say here, proceed with caution. They are all going to be low owned, so they are all fine GPP plays. Like Steph Curry is going to be like 10% tomorrow. We obviously know he has a ceiling, but he does have a low floor. And nobody's going to play him because of this quote. So just all GPP plays for me. Andrew Wiggins, I think, plays around 30 minutes. A little bit overpriced for me. Jordan Poole, a little bit overpriced for me as well. Klay Thompson, I'm probably thinking around the 20, 25 minute range. A little too pricey for me. Draymond Green, I'm probably expecting 25 to 30 minutes, 5.8K. I think that's solid. James Wiseman is healthy this year. So with Kevon Looney, obviously he's going to start. Minutes wise for him, I'm probably going to expect into the 15 to 20 minute range, which I think he's in play at 4.9K. But if he's going to be extremely popular because of the last year's minutes, then I want absolutely nothing to do with it. Wiseman, I don't think he's going to play much, and at this price, probably out of play for me. Now the bench rotation. So Dante, Kuminga, Wiseman, I know are 100% going to be in the rotation. Those would be the guys that I think are viable off the bench. Like I said, Wiseman, too pricey for me. But Kuminga and Dante, I'm expecting Dante to play at least 15 minutes. Dante isn't a terrible point per minute guy either. So these are just dart plays if you want to do it. I have to go over it. Obviously, I like the other value of like Brogdon, Al Horford, some value we'll go over on the Lakers in a second. But some low-end plays, they're definitely viable, Dante and Kuminga. But yeah. On to Lakers. So in the preseason, they said they were experimenting with Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. And he did for a game. So we're going to have to monitor the starting lineup for the Lakers. We really, really are. I don't know what they're going to do, but let's take a look at the depth chart. If Russell Wilson starts, it's going to be Russ, Pat Bev, Lonnie, LeBron James. I think AD plays the 5. I don't think Damian Jones is going to start at the 5, but it could definitely happen. And then if that's if Russell Westbrook starts. I don't know if you guys saw, but in the preseason they played him off the bench in one game. Westbrook is probable for tomorrow. I expect everyone to play outside of Dennis Schroeder. He is out. If Westbrook comes off the bench, who is going to start for him? What they could do, they could start Kendrick Nunn. They could start Austin Reeves. Those would be the two guys that I would expect to start if Russell Westbrook comes off the bench. One of those two guys. Um, I think Lonnie starts regardless, and I think AD plays at the 5. So we're just going to have to monitor the situation. I want nothing to do with Westbrook. I think LeBron James is fine play, but Anthony Davis at 8.5K is way too cheap. Love the matchup for him up against the Warriors. I think this is just an absolute smash spot for AD, and that power forward eligibility is absolutely massive. AD, when he stays healthy, has such a high floor and high ceiling combo. I absolutely love AD on the slate. I think LeBron's solid as well. We're going to go over this with Westbrook starting for now. Westbrook is overpriced for me. Patrick Beverley, 4.3K. Not going to have high usage, but he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. A phenomenal, phenomenal defender. I think he's good value. I think he's a very safe value. He would be the value piece that I would prefer the most, just because I think he's the safest. I think Lonnie Walker is firmly in play for value, assuming he starts. Damian Jones, I think, comes off the bench, probably plays anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. He's a fine value play. Now, if Westbrook starts, I do believe Austin Reeves and Kendrick Nunn are going to be in the rotation. Minutes-wise for them, I'm not sure. Probably 15 plus for both, making them both viable value plays. But, maybe close to 20. Maybe close to 20 if I take that back. JT will be in the rotation too. Now, if Westbrook comes off the bench and like Austin Reeves or Kendrick Nunn start at the point, they're both going to be very good value plays. Like if Austin Reeves starts at the point, he's going to be a very good value play. And then if Kendrick Nunn comes off the bench and plays 15 minutes at the flat min with the second unit, he's going to be a viable value play as well. So we're going to have to monitor the starting lineup here for the Lakers. That is going to be extremely important news. But like I said, I think Reeves, Damian Jones, Kendrick Nunn, JTA will all be in the rotation. I think if Westbrook starts, Nunn and Reeves are definitely still viable plays. If he comes off the bench, one of them starts, I would like whoever starts a lot for value. So that's a situation that we're going to monitor. I don't know why. They played Westbrook off the bench in their last preseason game, and they said they were going to experiment with it. And he got injured. So yeah, but I'm super excited for this. I hope you guys are as well. And let's crush like we did last year.